so this is what I'm gonna do. You know, so a lot of people don't want to accept that stuff. You know, and I think the society that we live in today is actually fostering men being weak, or actually just becoming extinct, because they don't want us to rise, especially the black man. I mean, that's a whole nother discussion.
No, that's
discussion. Yeah, it's like they don't want us to really shine the way that we need to, man. Yeah. And because I'm gonna tell you something. I talk to my wife. We have this conversation all the time about being a man, what it is to be a man. Mm-hmm. But like, she really respects me because I take pride in being a man. You know, a lot of dudes is like, I must be a man out of obligation, you know. But it's like, you have to actually be a man and be happy about it. Like, I love being a man. I love my masculinity, and no one can ever take that away from me. And in this day and age that we live in, I don't even know what's going on, guys. Yeah, I honestly don't. Like, the stuff I'm seeing, I have no idea what's going on as far as how people buy into certain foolishness. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Because it's really mind-boggling, you know. So, and in the whole media thing, that's a whole nother toilet of discussion too. Yeah, so that's so true. Yeah, that's just where I am with things. I'm very strong. My mind is really locked into, I'm a man, you know, and however the world wants to define that, they talk about toxic masculinity, you know, men are jerks, all these different things. This is like, nah, dude, we are not like that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, right. It's good to have forums like this to kind of show that. So,
I think that's part of the key too, though. The thing that counteracts the toxic masculinity is you got something to prove.
Exactly.
You got something to prove that points back to some kind of insecurity that you have about yourself, right? So the way you combat that, being a man and not having to apologize for it, and not being the kind of man that everybody else is like, oh, your behavior, your masculinity is toxic to us, is you're comfortable with who you are. Mm-hmm. I'm not looking for anybody else's approval. I'm not trying to influence or oppress or oppose anybody to that effect. It's just, I know who I am and what I'm about. Exactly. And I'm gonna stand up to that. I'm gonna hold that, you know, no matter where I go. Right. And when you have that, again, you're not looking at, you know, your woman has to walk behind you kind of thing and all these kind of. I don't need that. You know? Right. It's like, I'm not insecure enough to where I got to have somebody I feel like I can or have to lord over in order to feel like a man. Exactly. That's where I think the whole toxic masculinity comes from, and what we have to get back to is being the kind of man that, again, is secure in yourself. You're confident. You know who you are. You know what you're about. Yep. And you're not worried about somebody coming to try to take that from you. Right. Or letting somebody else define that for you. Exactly. And once you get to that point, then you can be masculine in a way that's not offensive to somebody else and not trying to take, you know, I don't have to take from you in order for me to gain.
Exactly.
That's it.
Right. Don't talking down on women. Don't have to. Stuff. You know what I'm saying? I don't even understand that.
And if I can add to that too, because what you just said is exactly it. You define, and I think that's what I think the bond that binds us and our group of friends is you define your manhood not by tearing other people down, it's by building everybody else up. If you're a man and you're a real man for your family, around your friends and everything else, I'm not gonna go and quote a lyric for it, right? Mm-hmm. But you know, if every brother in your clique is rich, your clique is rugged, kind of thing, right? Yeah. You're looking out for the people around you. It's like if I'm up and I'm standing and I'm in good shape and I see you and you're not, I'm gonna go and help you. I'm not gonna take that opportunity to tear you down or make myself feel propped up on your failure. And that's what defines a real man. It's like you are a man. You're gonna be an anchor to those around you. You're making sure you hold them up, prop them up, and help them out. Right. And you're not trying to. You don't have to tear anybody else down to feel better. That to me is the key. You know what I mean? When you got an insecure man in a position of power or with some kind of visibility, they're going to try to tear everybody else down to show how superior they are. I don't need to do that. I know who I am. Yeah. And in knowing who I am, I'm looking for other people around me that I can help build up too and not tear them down and make myself feel better.
Exactly. Right? Exactly. I love that. Yeah, I love that. I mean, I think that's perfectly said. I can't.
Yeah, that was well said.
Yeah, I can't really add to that because it's a thing of that insecurity thing and all that. That's a real problem, man.
It is, bro.
It breeds so many other issues on a societal scale, not just in households or in our different cliques or groups or in our different small societies, as like globally, like people that males that are insecure, they breed all kinds of negativity in environments. You know, jealousy, wars, everything.
Wars, man, all of it, bro.
And it's it's one of those things where we have to really just be, I would say, mindful of how we move in society. Absolutely. Because see, the thing is that the thing is now is the whole cancel culture thing. It's like whatever you say, literally, if it doesn't go with the groupthink or the societal norms or politically correct, you will be canceled. Like you could lose your job, man. They can ruin your career. Because part of my identity is just living in honesty. Mm-hmm. And no matter what happens around me from a societal standpoint, man, I'm gonna just my focus is,
you you made a good point here. Like if you think about it, what society is, what they try to do is the victimization. Mm-hmm. If that's the right word, victimization. Okay.
Yeah.
they want to make themselves appear something what they are not. Right. So what they'll do is, what's the word I'm looking for? What they'll do is try to get you to tolerate or accept a certain behavior.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And by that, it destroys a person who has truly defined himself as a man or a woman.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because right now, not only men are being attacked, but women are being attacked.
Oh, definitely.
And the thing is about women. Women are powerful.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it seems like nowadays women have to promote them own self to make it seem that they're greater when they don't have to do that. You are already beautiful. You're already powerful.
Right.
You know, you don't need to become or be something in order to be recognized.
Yeah.
Even if society has placed you or deemed you as something, you should have confidence in yourself, the God-given ability that God has given you already to know what your worth is.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just like men. You was about to say something?
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, it's been something that I've thought about for a very, very long time, like years.
Mm-hmm.
And I have my own thoughts on it, and I don't mind sharing, but I want to hear from y'all. You mentioned about it's important for women, but it's important for people in general to have confidence, to be able to build confidence in who they are and what they stand on and what their beliefs are and standards are and so on. What is that? How does that come about? If you're a person that has insecurities or has a lack of self-esteem or fear or uncertainty, how does one find confidence?
I can answer.
You want your try?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Okay.
I would say
I got a thought in my head too. But go ahead.
I would say evaluate your life. Find something that you are gifted at, whatever it is. Attach yourself to that. Build your confidence in something that means something to you. And let that confidence that you build there, let that bleed out into everything else. But initially, you have to just say to yourself, and I guess that goes along with giving your life purpose. You know, you go through this life. All of us have purpose. Whatever it is you want to do, focus on that. Clear out all the noise, like anybody or anything that detracts you from your focus of whatever it is, even if it's just your job, man. If you want to just be good at your job, let that be your focus, because it is through when you find your purpose that you build your confidence. Once you build your confidence in your existence of whatever it is you're doing or whatever it is you function in, then that confidence bleeds out in everything else. And then you simply don't have room or space in your mind or in your soul to care about what anybody else is talking about. That's literally a good start to it. Now that doesn't work. That doesn't work like that for everybody, but it's just a good suggestion in finding your focus for who you are and how you want to exist and how you want to move on this planet while we are in these suits that we're in.
So
You're
talking about a clear action, flesh body suit. Right. So so what Al is talking about is an action, which is excellent. Mm-hmm. That's an implementation of something. But you're talking about like when people find themselves residing in the impact. Mm-hmm. Is that what you're talking about? Like, how do you cross the bridge of this insecurity, this fear, this not having confidence? You're talking, because Al's giving you the actions, but what if you don't necessarily see what he's talking about, right? You know what I'm saying? Not clearly yet, right?
Right.
What I think what you're talking about in some regard, you know what I mean, to piggyback off of Al, I think is what starts that confidence issue in people, that fear in people, is a comparison to other things that they shouldn't be doing. Mm-hmm. When you compare yourself against something else, that is dangerous.
It is.
You know what I'm saying? You said that in your podcast.
The interview.
In your interview, because it's so true.
Says, comparison is the thief of joy.
It is.
It is, man. It really is.
Yeah.
So when you look at like for instance, I'm gonna speak on myself. I've been trying to play the piano for like 15 years, man. 15 years. Right, I dabble, right? Yeah. So I dabble a little bit, but it's like not being able to overcome bridge this gap. Mm-hmm. So there's this gap. So this is where I am, and I see musicians that are here. How do I bridge this gap? Mm-hmm. And I think that's where we find ourselves in the bridging of the gap. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So this area right here is a very gray area, so to speak, if for a lack of a term, it's a dangerous area for people because it can either discourage you or causes one to say, I'm going to fight and break the concrete. You know what I'm saying? It's a dangerous area. Yeah. So like for me and, you know, playing the piano and everything, I just got to take some time. And most of the time is time and dedication and discipline to get it done. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And like kind of like what Al was saying is not allowing those things and just like break the concrete, you know what I'm saying? Don't allow those other influences or whatever the case may be, going back to influences again and identity that falls in your question as well, really, you know? So that's kind of my thought.
And if I can piggyback off of what both of you said and answering that question, right? Because you're talking about finding something that you do well, right? And even kind of taking what Ethan just said. Now, I'm going to say this because it's my brother, and we talk about this with each other all the time.
All the time.
We're hard critics on ourselves, right?
Terrible.
And I don't regret it, but recognizing sometimes that we can kind of go overboard beating ourselves up with certain things, right? So my brother made the comment about he's been trying for 15 years to play the piano, right? Now, for those of you that don't know, this brother's cut about 4 or 5 full albums, and he is, for the most part, he has a lot of guest instrumentalist singers and everything else, but the brother has played most of the instruments on his album. This is a jack of all trades, kind of talented musician. So while he hasn't been classically trained in the piano, the brother is a band by himself, right? So just that thing, and again, I'm saying that, and I'm propping him up because again, we talk about this kind of stuff all the time, but that's where it comes from. It's like, and a lot of times we'll set an idea out there, and this is kind of pulling back on what we've been kind of talking about the whole time. We'll set an idea out there for, okay, this is how I think I should be. You have to sit down and understand, why do you think you should be that way? And if you're thinking that I should be that way, you sit back and think about how should I be. And if you don't reflect on why am I thinking I should be that way, that's where I think you start off down this path, because you get focused on, because I had aspirations. I wanted to learn how to play a whole bunch of instruments, but I, on the other hand, have no musical talent whatsoever. But in that same vein, it's like, okay, why am I looking at a specific thing as my target? Why is that the thing I want to aspire to be versus what I naturally am or what I'm naturally gifted at or what I really want to do, right? And that's where it comes back to. Sometimes what I really think the key to it is, it's all of what you brothers just said. And it's really just having that time to sit back and close the door and shut the rest of the world out and reflect on, what do I like? What do I do well? And what makes me happy? And once you find those things and you set your focus on something like that, and that, again, comes back to the identity. When I sit down and I do those things and reflect long enough, and I know who I am and what I'm here for, again, what I want to do and everything, you go do that, and you're not worried about people judging you, or you're not looking at somebody else's benchmark or somebody else's standard. And that's that other double-edged sword about where we are right now, because, you know, I like to redefine stuff, right? And what they always call toxic masculinity, I think really should be toxic insecurity. Because it's not something that's limited to men. It's something that happens with everybody. It does. And you add that to the lack of accountability with social media, and that's where you get to the problems that we have today. Cancel culture stems from people being anonymously nasty online because they got something to prove or they're insecure about themselves, and they know they can do that without any accountability. Exactly. So in response to that, you get people who say, all right, I'm going to find you, right? I'm going to fix you. I'm going to get you back. You said this about me. I'm going to go and I'm going to dox you. I'm going to find out where you live, where you work, who you know, so on and so forth. And I'm going to shut your life down because you've gone and done this all this time without any accountability. If you're not trying to build or beat somebody else down and build yourself up, you know who you are and what you're about. And you're doing what you love and what you enjoy, and you've thought long enough to understand what that is, I could care less what anybody else has to say about it. I know who I am, and that's what you're living, and you could be confident in that. And again, you don't have to beat up on anybody else to get there, and that's the problem. You know, that lack of accountability and lack of understanding who you are and what you like to do stems, leads on this stuff, right? So I love that. Yeah, that's great.